Hi everyone, and welcome back to Sunday School. Today's Sunday School is about an important choice. You know, our government has to make an important choice about when you guys are to go back to school. Some might go back soon, some might go back at the end of June, and some people might not go back to school until September when they're starting a new class. And the government don't want more people to get sick, so it's a really important decision and they're going to have to think very hard before they make it. Well, we're on the last in our series of stories that Jesus told, and today's story that Jesus tells is all about a very important choice that everyone has to make. Jesus' story was answering some questions, and the first question it was answering was, where are you going? Well, if you got up right now and you walked towards your front door, your mum or dad might say to you, where are you going? Now these days you're either going to the supermarket to get food or you're going out for your daily exercise. But in normal life you might be going somewhere a bit more interesting. Well, Jesus said in his story that life is like one big long journey, and it leads to one of only two places. The first place, Jesus said, is called destruction. Doesn't sound great, does it? If something is destroyed, it's absolutely ruined. Sometimes this place is called death. The worst thing about this place is that God is not there. Well, the second place is much better. Jesus said the second place is called life. And in this place, nobody is ever sad. Nobody ever does anything wrong, and there's no sickness and there's no pain. It's amazing. But the best thing about this place is that God is there. This place is sometimes called heaven, and this place is sometimes called hell. Well, Jesus said in his story that the choices you make on your journey through your long life from when you're a tiny baby to when you're a very old grandparent are really important because they'll determine which of these two places you end up in. Now you might think that's a really easy choice. One sounds terrible and the other sounds great. I know which place I want to go to. The next question Jesus' story answered was, how do we get there? Well, Jesus said your choice in life is like choosing one of two different roads. The first road is a lovely wide road. It's very easy to walk along. It's a bit like when you drive your car on a motorway. It's very quick and easy. Or you can take the second road, which is a narrow road, and it's quite hard to walk along. There's lots of rocks in the way. It's really easy to stumble. The first road looks like the best option. But actually, Jesus said, what matters is where these roads lead. The first road leads to death. And you've guessed it, the second road leads to the place called life. You see, if you want to go to heaven, you have to put Jesus in charge of your life. And if you love and trust Jesus, then you have to do what he says, and sometimes that's hard. It's much easier to go your own way, but what matters is the place you end up, and going your own way leads to a place that is not nice. Well, the next question Jesus' story answered was, who are you going with? Well, you can see on the wide road, there are loads of people on that path. And sadly, There are a lot of our friends who don't love Jesus. Sometimes it's because they just don't know him, but sometimes it's because they don't want to listen to him and they want to go their own way. There are much fewer people on the narrow path. But shall I tell you who's on that path? Jesus. So if you follow God's ways, then Jesus is right there to help you. And if you ask him, he will. Well, sometimes it's easier in life, isn't it, to do the things that most people are doing because you feel more popular or you feel like you've got more friends. But just remember that if you're on the narrow path following God's ways, Jesus is with you. And just remember the amazing place that path leads to. The last question Jesus answered in his story is, how do we get on the right road? We have an important choice to make. Which road are we going to choose? Well, maybe you want to choose the narrow road. But how? Well, in his story, Jesus said, to get onto the wide road is really easy because there's a huge gate. And everyone who wants to can get through it. But to get onto the narrow road, there's a narrow gate and it's difficult to find. Do you see it's got a cross on the front of it, and that's a clue. Jesus died on the cross, didn't he? He took the punishment for all the wrong things we do. And that means that if we trust Jesus and we ask him to forgive us for the wrong things we do, we can go through that narrow gate and on to the narrow road. You see, if we love Jesus and we do what he says, and if we don't, we say sorry, then we can get on the narrow path that leads to the most amazing place you can ever imagine. And in fact, the Bible says Jesus is the gate. I've chosen that narrow path, and I really hope that all of you will choose it too, and have Jesus beside you as you go through your journey of life. Well, I hope you've received your activity sheets, which you can do now, and we're going to have a break from Sunday school for the next couple of weekends as it's half term. And so I'll see you after half term. Bye.